A very good afternoon to you all. Thank you for watching Uganda Broadcasting Corporation, broadcasting live from Nile Avenue. With me, Wadulo, Mark Arnold. I'm your news anchor this 7th day of May 2022. We'll now start off with the first story. Bishop Stewart University in Mbarara has held its 17th graduation ceremony with 1,773 students being awarded PhDs, master's degrees and diplomas in various disciplines. While representing President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni at the ceremony, Vice President Major Jessica Alupo urged the graduates to avoid getting rich quickly through corrupt means. These were the details.
We thank you, our own Chancellor.
Vice President Jessica Alupo, in a speech read for President Yoweri Museveni, encouraged the graduates to utilize available opportunities and the skills acquired to cause transformation in communities they live. The Vice President also urged them to go out there and be relevant to their societies by continuously reinventing themselves by focusing on the people. She called upon the institutions of higher learning to focus on transforming the mind of leaders and managers to not only go beyond technical efficiency, but also encapsulate skills like innovativeness and selflessness, because this kind of education, which recognizes ideological concerns, will make a critical contribution towards transforming Uganda.
Today's graduation ceremony is a sign that the university is attaining maturity, yet doing great work of improving the human resource of our nation. Since the university has a Christian foundation, I trust that your children will form a formidable force in Uganda to fight social ills like corruption and work hard to build the nation towards self-resilience and development. You must avoid temptation of getting rich quickly through corrupt means. You are encouraged to utilize the available opportunities and use your skills acquired to cause transformation.
Who has doctorate of philosophy in language, culture and society of Bishop Stewart University, in the name of God the Father, the Son and the Holy Spirit.
I present to you the graduates
who Johnson, Doctorate of Philosophy in Development Management of Bishop Stewart University, in the name of God the Father, the Son and the Holy Spirit.
The Vice President therefore thanked the parents and guardians for entrusting Bishop Stewart University with their children and supporting them in all expenses. Etole Ed Archangel, UBC News.
In other news, the Minister for ICT and National Guidance, Chris Baryomosi, has pledged to protect press freedom to journalists while exercising their profession. Now, Dr. Baryomosi's pledge follows repeated acts of brutality against journalists in line with their duty to inform the public. This was at Mestil Hotel in Kampala, where the minister also signed a memorandum of understanding with the Uganda Media Sector Working Group in commemoration of the World Press Freedom Day that is celebrated on the 3rd of April with the theme Journalism Under Digital Siege. And the details are in this report.
The right to get a stick or a gun and start beating a journalist.
Journalism is a calling, but often practitioners are faced with acts of brutality and abused in their line of duty. In the wake of continued attacks on media practitioners by the public and the state actors, the Minister of ICT and National Guidance, Dr. Chris Baryomosi, has promised to protect journalists in their line of duty.
I will insist that the security, the police officers have no right whatsoever to harass journalists as they do their work. Because media practice and journalism is a service like any other.
Dr. Baliomunsi says a regulation policy will be formulated and implemented to protect the fourth estate.
Media practice, is there room for regulation, or we should push for self-regulation? Do we as a state just keep quiet and leave the media to regulate itself? Or there should be some form of regulation so there is order in society.
The chairman of the Uganda Media Council, Paulo Ekuchu, says this initiative will help shape the profession.
An optimistic person sees good things everywhere, is generally confident and hopeful of what the future holds.
Robert Kabushenga, the host, #360 Mentor, cautioned journalists to embrace the opportunity of digital era.
Why do you think that you should go to an event and write a story in the notebook and then go to the office and type it and then produce it? It's complete madness. Just use your phone to type as the person is talking, and you key in send to the editor, and then your story will be processed and put up immediately, and it can be a developing story. So the traditional ways in which you've worked as journalists are going to become completely and utterly irrelevant. So you need to retool and to reskill for the digital world.
Digitalization is giving a chance for journalists to broadcast information fast and accurate. Irene Faith Nantongo, UBC News.
I do beg your pardon, Press Freedom Day is 3rd of May, not April, as earlier mentioned. In other news, the Katikiro of Buganda, Charles Peter Mayiga, has emphasized the role of native institutions in nurturing and grooming of leaders that deliver results. Now, while delivering a keynote speech at Nsibirwa Annual Public Lecture, Mayiga highlighted the role of Buganda Kingdom in the development of the country. These are the details.
Makerere University has organized the Nsibirwa Annual Public Lecture in remembrance of his effort in acquisition of university land. This as the institution prepares to mark 100 years of its existence. Towards 10 a.m., Katikiro of Buganda Charles Peter Mayiga arrived and first planted a tree at Ssekabaka Mutesa Museum. Katikiro Mayiga implored culture institutions to always pay attention to the quality of people they train to avoid producing watered-down leaders.
We are here in large part because of the wisdom, determination, and foresightedness of great men and women such as Martin Luther and Nsibirwa, and it is fitting that we should celebrate them.
The chairperson of the University Council appreciated the late Nsibirwa for his efforts in ensuring Makerere gets land for expansion.
They acquired land for staff housing estates in Kololo, Katalemwa, Makindye, Makerere North, and Bwaise. Such was the foresightedness of men and women like Owech-Tibwa Martin Luther Nsibirwa.
And I wish to report that the reconstruction of our iconic building has commenced.
The daughter to the late Nsibirwa narrated circumstances her father went through after Buganda donated land to the university.
Nsibirwa being this, believing this to be in the best interest of the country, finally signed the clause on the 4th of September 1945, and he was assassinated on the morning of the 5th September near Namirembe Cathedral steps as he went for morning service. Nsibirwa lost his life, but Makerere College gained a university status sooner than it could have been before he gave his life.
The event was organized under the theme Revisiting the Life of the Late Katikiro Martin Luther Nsibirwa in the Lenses of Makerere at 100. Marian Womcha and Andrew Sebira, UBC News.
Now, a mother in Fort Portal is mourning her 3 biological children she lost in a recent bus accident in Kabarole district. Nansubuga Mariam was coming from her husband's place in Kalijo village in Tororo sub-county Bundibujo district with her 3 deceased children, heading to Iganga district to visit her sick father. We had a report.
This is a sad story of Nansubuga Mariam, a resident of Ntoroko sub-county in Bundibujo district, who lost all her 3 children in the Wednesday link bus nasty accident along the Fort Portal Chenjojo Kampala highway.
Emotoka ali edduka speed agenda nze okuwulira nali ntudde n'abaana kuba nali n'abaana 3 nange nga ndi wakuna nagenda okuwulira nga aliwo ekintu nga motoka kyekonye awo saddamu okutegeera nagenda okudda engulu nga ndajja n'abaana bange baliwa nga ndaba abantu bonna abantu bamenyesemenyese abantu tebaliiko mitwe tebaliiko mikono na migulu.
She miraculously escaped with minor injuries. We found Miss Nansubuga at Fort Portal Referral Hospital in pain due to the sustained injuries and evidently in grief for her dead children. She is among the 57 survivors of the accident that killed 21 passengers along Fort Portal Kampala highway. The speeding bus is the only thing she recalls before the accident left her unconscious.
Abasajja abavuga bus, abasajja bavuga bubi, tebabala bulamu bw'abantu. Ekirala kati nga nze ndi mukazi muzadde, nazaala abaana bange 3 bonna abaana baaweddewo.
She regained her senses later when she started looking for her children but could not find any by her side. She later on, after regaining consciousness, realized that all her 3 children had perished in the accident. The deceased children were aged 2 months, 3 years and 13 years respectively. Unfortunately, this mother buried none of her children due to her condition that required medical attention.
Omuzira kisa yenna waali ng'olina omutima gw'obuzadde ng'era ng'owulira ekiwundu ku mutima gwo bannange muyambe mutaase abaana bange simanyi nga naaguma.
Godfrey Bitamirwa, Nansubuga's husband, says after the deadly incident, his wife spends most of the time crying. Ibanda Martin, a principal psychiatric clinical officer at Fort Portal Regional Referral Hospital, says Nansubuga's condition requires special medical attention before it results into depression. He says counseling is the only remedy to allow the victim come to terms with what happened.
But if she continues with these signs and symptoms, after 2 weeks, then she will have entered another stage which requires now another kind of intervention because she will be developing depression.
Nansubuga wants government to regulate motorists while on the road to avoid putting passengers' lives at risk. She pleads for well-wishers' help to back up her treatment and other needs.
Bananga abantu tuli kuvundira mu ddwaliro obujjanjabi teri yadde n'akatono banange simanyi banange mutuyambe mututaase.
A very sound warning for all reckless bus drivers. This is the harm that you caused the country. In other news, the Ministry of Defense and Veteran Affairs UPDF Retirement and Discharge Documentation Team has interfaced with 17 officers and militants of Armored Brigade Headquarters at Kasajagirwa in Mazaka. Now, Colonel Griffin Chitinti, the Brigade Operations and Training Officer, reminded the impeded retirees and discharges in his address that retirement is a break in service as you prepare to join active reserve force.
According to Colonel Kantinti, Armored Brigade is a combat support arm that is deployed around all divisions, formations and units. Some of the impending retirees and discharges under this brigade have already been documented or will be documented from their respective formations where they are still providing support element. Colonel Kantinti urged the retirees to keep living with pride for having served under the mighty UPDF and particular important combat arm, the Armored Brigade, whose slogan is Jogo wa Medani, literally meaning King of the Jungle.
You are preparing to join an active reserve force. It means that you are just going to have a break from the regular force and go into the active reserve. I want to remind you that when you go, lastly you go to retirement, you might be called upon if it is deemed necessary.
The retirees are scheduled to retire on 31st July 2022, the intended retirement day. Colonel Kantinti told the impending retirees to remain active, shun all factors and characters that could create instability in the country, remain patriotic and loyal to the UPDF leadership, the Commander-in-Chief and the country.
As you enjoy your retirement, remain active. Remain active. Don't go and sleep, because you are no longer facing the media here. Communities, we have secretaries for defense. Be active in the community. Be active in the community, so that you can continue promoting the peace and the stability that you've been part.
The Commissioner Human Resource of the Ministry of Defense and Veteran Affairs, Nguzu Cox Alfred, applauded the impending retirees for diligently serving the nation and for their loyalty to UPDF, its leadership and the country.
Afande talked about here, they give it to you as one bulk. Don't get excited by that money. And as you start life, others will tell you, no, what you do, there's good business here. If you have never been a businessman, don't go there. Bottles of beer, reduce them to 3. Or you can even do without. Because one of the challenges in retirement is health becomes an issue. It's also an area of opportunity. You'll be able to do things you are unable to do because the duty that you got involved in was very engaging.
The sensitization and documentation team is now on its second leg of the exercise in western and southwestern Uganda, having accomplished work in eastern and northern Uganda.
We'll now take a short commercial break and be back with business news. Stay tuned.
Pay for your dream phone, Mpola. Get your dream phone today for as low as 1,400 Uganda shillings with free data for a year and pay slowly. All phones come with daily 50 MBs for 12 months. Repayment period is 1 year. Available at MTN service centers and M-Kopa shops.
Uganda and Turkey enjoy warm, cordial, and mutually beneficial bilateral relations, especially in the areas of investment, trade, and tourism, and continue to grow steadily with huge potential. Against that background, the Ministry of Finance, Planning and Economic Development, through the Uganda Investment Authority, is holding the Uganda-Turkey Investment, Trade, Industry and Tourism Summit 2022. The summit will be held on May 12, 2022 at SPEKE Resort MUNYONYO in Kampala under the theme Accelerating Investment, Trade, Industry and Tourism between Uganda and Turkey in a post-COVID era. The summit will focus on key growth sectors in Uganda, namely agriculture and agro-value addition, manufacturing, industrial parks, mineral value addition, and tourism. The overall objective of the summit is to boost investment, trade, industry, and tourism between Uganda and Turkey by showcasing and identifying opportunities, sharing of experiences, creating business networks, and dealing with investment and trade challenges. The chief guest will be the President of the Republic of Uganda, His Excellency Yoweri Kaguta Museveni. Follow the summit live on UBC and on Uganda Investment Authority's social media platforms with the hashtag InvestUGTurkey 2022.
This event is sponsored by Modern Tiles.
Get connected today with the My Airtel 4G smartphone and enjoy free data for 1 whole year worth 86,500 Uganda shillings. That's free 2 GB for the first month and free 1 GB for the next 11 months at only 250,000 Uganda shillings with free data for 1 whole year worth 86,500 shillings, making the effective price of the 4G phone 163,500 shillings only. Airtel, the smartphone network.
Affordable packages, great entertainment, sports, the local content, telenovela, the movies. There is something for everybody. Go TV, this is where great stories live.
Get the best entertainment for any budget. With GoTV, you will have great entertainment for as little as 13,000 Uganda shillings per month. GoTV, great stories, Zidiwano. GoTV Uganda, love it.
Water gives life. Water is life. But not all water is created equal. Refresh yourself with the new quality Nirvana packaged drinking water and fuel you and your passion to go further in life.
Visit a shop near you and grab a 250 ml at 500 shillings, 500 ml at 1,000 shillings, 1.5 liters at 2,000 shillings, or the 20-liter jumbo bottle at 18,000 shillings. Nirvana is a product of Crown Beverages Limited, the makers of Pepsi products.
Even with my grandson, a doctor at my side, I struggled to get the help I needed. But he saw something that day. He began to work day and night. He wouldn't quit, even when people said no. He wouldn't stop fighting. He knew something had to change, and his vision was bigger than anyone could imagine. He made it possible to receive quality medical services anywhere in Uganda by simply using a phone.
This is a story of a regular Ugandan just like you, who harnessed the power of technology to provide a solution for us. How about you tell us your story? UG needs more of you. To share your story, visit airtel.co.ug/UG needs more of you or call or SMS 162.
Airtel, the smartphone network.
Welcome back. You're still watching the UBC Lunchtime News. We now take you to the world of business. The Ministry of Education and Sports is putting more emphasis in the implementation of the TVET policy of 2019, aiming at improving skills development and producing graduates who can compete on the labor market. Now, the Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Education and Sports, disclosed this while officiating the International Vocational Qualification Training for the Directorate of Industrial Training at Chiriandongo Technical Institute in Chiriandongo District. These are the details.
47 members of staff from the Directorate of Industrial Training have been trained as International Vocational Qualification Level 3 assessors at Chiriandongo Technical Institute. These assessors will conduct international assessment, train other assessors, and advise the Directorate and assessment centers in key areas of development. The Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Education and Sports, Katie Lamaro, says the ministry is advocating for quality graduates that are responsive to the labor market.
You may already know that there are companies in Uganda that will only employ people with international qualification. The oil and gas industry is one of such sectors that now demands international qualifications. You can all agree with me that the transformation of standards from local level UBQ to international level IBQ is an important milestone in our efforts to popularize TVET and to provide the human resource that the country needs instead of leaving such jobs to foreigners.
Lamaro hailed the Directorate of Industrial Training for building capacity of its staff to gain skills and certification for assessing international level qualifications.
That this intervention has not only started, and you will continue to equip more staff. I note that the volume of work you have is high. Just last week we were somewhere in Ntinda. Every other day there is something going on in DIT. So really the volume of work is high, and you need even more international level assessors. Please continue and build an adequate pool of assessors for all levels.
The Acting Director, Directorate of Industrial Training, Patrick Byakatonda, says most staff will be equipped with international practical assessment skills to enable them improve the assessment training packages.
International certification is now critical, especially in the oil and gas sector. Now, our assessors, in order to assess internationally, you should have internationally qualified assessors. So what we have been doing, that is a training which we have started, and we have started the journey for internationalization of our DIT qualification.
The Assistant Commissioner in charge of Vocational Education and Training, Triatemba Edi, says with these international certificates, the employability of our graduates will increase as they can be employed both locally and abroad.
We help Ugandans not only to access employment in Uganda, but also outside Uganda, especially in the oil and gas sector. But also you are aware, we have been exporting people to United Arab Emirates like cleaners. Those people are not qualified. If we export qualified and certified people, they are going to get more money from there, and then the money will come back to this country as a foreign exchange, and therefore our economy is going to grow.
International instructors Andre Erasmus and Anne Lewis from City and Guilds commended the performance of the staff during the training.
And that brings us to the end of our lunchtime edition. Thank you for being a lovely audience, but please do catch up with more news in our subsequent bulletins. My name is Wadulo Mark Arnold, and have yourselves a great afternoon.
Even with my grandson, a doctor at my side, I struggled to get the help I needed. But he saw something that day. He began to work day and night. He wouldn't quit, even when people said no. He wouldn't stop fighting. He knew something had to change, and his vision was bigger than anyone could imagine. He made it possible to receive quality medical services anywhere in Uganda by simply using a phone.
This is a story of a regular Ugandan just like you, who harnessed the power of technology to provide a solution for us. How about you tell us your story? UG needs more of you. To share your story, visit airtel.co.ug/UG needs more of you, or call or SMS 162. Airtel, the smartphone network.
Mie nimeimba wakati enzi za rupia. Sasa hakuna taarabu. Taarabu zamani.